PBIS at its core, its mission is equity. It's a system of understanding and developing the culture and climate of the school and to support the behavioral needs and social emotional learning needs of students.
Expect Respect is an embedded component of PBIS. Through this video, we hope that our staff and our teachers get a greater understanding of Expect Respect. Anyone on campus, no matter what role they're in, can reinforce the skills with the students. And then hopefully, as it gains momentum, and the students get comfortable with it, that we'll also have our students using it with each other. It's always best when peers can work with their peers. Our board policy is very clear. Everyone in all settings is required to intervene if they witness an incident of bullying. The district has a commitment to bullying prevention, and it's important that we begin in providing staff a definition of what bullying and harassment is.
Bullying is an unwanted aggressive behavior among school children that involves real or perceived power imbalance.
The behavior is repeated or has the potential to be repeated over time.
Power imbalance can change over time or in different situations.
Bullying includes actions such as making threats, spreading rumors,
attacking someone physically or verbally,
and excluding someone from a group on purpose.
Cyberbullying includes the electronic creation or transmission of harassing communications or images.
The definition has really expanded to words and also things that are written down, printed out, posted online, texting, to really inflict emotional distress and really put another person down.
The big difference between face-to-face bullying and cyberbullying is cyberbullying can happen anywhere and anytime.
Just like we have expectations in Tier 1 around expected behaviors around the campus, classroom, playground environments, we also want to have common language for expectations on how students and staff are responding to bullying on campus.
Maybe there's a group of people who are picking on one person. Ongoing harassment, they're picking on their ethnicity or the language that they speak or their academic performance.
Our staff have a set of responsibilities when it comes to bullying behavior. Part of that is to discriminate whether this is respectful or disrespectful behavior. We want to label and interrupt non-respectful student behavior when it occurs, teach the 5 core student skills, mediate conflict if presented with a problem situation. Did the reporting student deliver the stop signal? Did the perpetrating student stop when signaled? Protect the safety of all. And then a key piece of this is to collect and use information, to look at our school data, to look at discipline incidences, referrals to the front office, to collect and use that information continually so that we're always looking to improve our school climate.
We need to give students a way to address behavior. If any of us are feeling uncomfortable and don't feel like we have a voice, we need the tool to do it with. We actually had Ms. Gallagher's class go through the Expect Respect lessons and kind of tailor it to Monterey Trail. One of our core values is respect, and so our stakeholders have had a say in what respect looks like on our campus.
Let's go ahead and review the Expect Respect phrase on our campus. We voted on that in January, and it is respect the trail. So the strategy, what is a stop strategy? Michelle, could you read that for us, please?
A stop strategy. In a situation where disrespectful behavior occurs, it is important to utilize the following steps to stop the problem before it escalates.
So the goal is to have a way for us to just stop something from happening, disrespect on our campus, before it gets any worse.
Use the school-wide stop phrase, respect the trail. Number 2, if the person stops, say cool or okay and move on with your day. Number 3, if the person does not stop, decide whether to ignore the person or seek support. Number 4, if you decide to ignore, don't look at or talk to that person. If you decide to seek support, select a school adult to approach and ask for support.
My job as the support person would to say thank you for sharing that with me and address your concerns and figure out what we want to do next to help support you with that.
Respect the Trail is non-confrontational and less scary to use. It doesn't feel like somebody's going to come back at them with some retaliation.
Once people start saying it,
the person actually stops for a second, like you can see them stop and think, oh, I actually did affect that person negatively, or oh, I probably shouldn't have done that.
Teach the 5 core student skills. Discriminate respectful from not respectful behavior. Use a stop phrase if someone is not respectful. If a bystander feels disrespected or at risk for retaliation, they should use the stop phrase. Use a stop strategy. Stop what you are doing. Take a breath. Move on. No big deal if asked to stop by another person. Get help from an adult safely. If someone is disrespectful, or if you witness disrespect.
At the Tier 1 level, we work with our teaching staff to talk about different things that we see on campus, from cyberbullying to talking about specific student religious beliefs. And so we want staff to be really comfortable with addressing those situations using the bully prevention framework.
Bullying doesn't happen in isolation, and sometimes even bystanders don't feel their own ability or power in the situation.
My good friend Andy he's minding his own business and I'm just watching. This kid, this other student, started making fun of him, and Andy, being himself, started to just kind of like brush it off. It's like, oh no, it's fine, it's okay, I know I am. And I kind of like looked in there, I'm like, what do I do? Because I am watching this happen and I don't know what to do about it.
A situation where a student asks another student to stop behaving disrespectfully, it is important for the accused student to utilize the following steps in an effort to de-escalate the situation. If someone uses the school-wide stop phrase toward you, stop what you are doing. Even if you don't think you're doing anything wrong, remind yourself, no big deal if I stop now. Say okay to the person who asked you to stop and move on with your day. If you observe someone using the stop strategy and the perpetrator doesn't stop, do one of 3 things. Use the stop strategy toward the perpetrator. Ask the student who is being disrespected to go with you and leave the area. Comfort the student who is disrespected by saying something like, I'm sorry that happened, it wasn't fair. When addressing bullying incidences, it's important that the staff address the diversity of the student body and school community, take immediate corrective action when bullying is observed, report incidences to the appropriate authorities, including law enforcement, in instances of criminal behavior.
I really like the strategy. I think it's easy to remember, it's simple, and you don't have to say a lot more about it. You say the strategy, you both let it go, you move on. If we know the language and we know the stop phrase, we can reinforce that at home.
We definitely want our parents to be seen as our ally and as our partner in this work. We need to create a school community that is safe emotionally and physically for our students.
It's a little bit heartbreaking to hear, the way some of our students have had to learn how to deal with it and just kind of brush it off their shoulders, because I think the big piece that's missing there is that when teachers are choosing to address or not address it at the moment, we're also missing an opportunity for them to learn, right? So the offender is never growing, is never learning.
When they call me names, I'm just like, that's so true, and I just giggle it off because I believe that they believe it's a joke.
It's not something to joke about, And if a student tells me that an adult on campus is not doing what they're supposed to do, having inappropriate behavior or communication or language, I go straight to the administrator. Because that's our job, is to protect you.
While there are many forms that bullying can take, there are some types of bullying that are actually being motivated by hate or bias.
We do have certain groups, unfortunately, that are harassed and bullied more often than others. We see more harassment and bullying against students who are part of our LGBTQ community, who are foster youth, or who are homeless. The Department of Education defines hate-motivated behavior.
Hate-motivated behavior is any act or attempted act intended to cause emotional suffering.
Physical injury or property damage through intimidation, harassment, bigoted slurs or epithets, forces or threats of vandalism.
Motivated in part or in whole by bias or hostility towards another person's real or perceived disability.
Ethnicity, gender expression, gender identity.
Sexual orientation, immigration status, race or religion.
Socioeconomic status or association with a person or group with one or more of these actual or perceived characteristics, or any other physical or cultural characteristics.
One type of behavior that we have experienced, not just in our district but across the state, are things like chants targeting a group based on their perceived immigration status, about building a wall or going back to where they came from. One way to move these efforts forward is to reach out to some of the groups that have been targeted by hosting empathy panels to begin to learn from those groups.
Hearing from them what their experience is with teachers is much different than what I think their experience is with me.
One of my female teachers, she was a new teacher, and I went to introduce myself to her because I generally talk more to the teachers than to other students. And I went to introduce myself to her, and I went to shake her hand, and she flinched at me. I didn't understand why, because I had just met her, and it gave me this uneasy feeling.
When I feel like somebody's intimidated by me, it gets me nervous. So I just try to make sure my body language is cool, calm, I'm ready to learn, I'm ready to listen. I just feel like we just know that they're intimidated, so we're just scared to show how we feel about everything.
So from them, goods, bads, everything that they have gotten out of their school experience, their life, it really opened your eyes to your impact or possible lack of impact in their life, and how important it is to build the relationships with them.
GSA is our Gay Straight Alliance Club, and the focus really is on creating a safe and inclusive environment for all students at school.
I probably wasn't expecting this many people to come. I was surprised at the amount of teachers I knew and had seen around campus. To me, that's a good thing, and I feel a lot safer now than I had before this.
It's really important that within our bully prevention that we're culturally responsive and equitable based on our diverse student population. We know that students who have different backgrounds than others may get bullied in different ways. So we want to teach specifically to those things. That way we can be more inclusive and students can understand why others might look different from them.
Girls that have hijab, because of this hijab or scarf, they get bullied, they're bullied. We're not terrorists, we're not any bad person. Some people in here in America, they're very good. They help you, they make you feel good in here.
Our first mission and the first mission at PUAS is to make sure that the environment of the school, that it's culturally responsive to students.
A student or parent or guardian who believes the student is a victim of hate-motivated behavior is strongly encouraged to report the incident to a teacher, the principal, or other staff member. Any staff member who is notified that hate-motivated behavior has occurred, observes such behavior, or otherwise becomes aware of an incident shall immediately contact the principal or the compliance officer responsible for coordinating the district's response to complaints and complying with state and federal civil rights laws.
I have 3 children, all in Elk Grove Unified. Having African American children in this district is a different experience than maybe, say, a white child in this district. So these are conversations that we actually have pretty regularly, just talking about our community and the world. If one of my children were bullied with a hate-motivated tactic, it would be devastating. I think that it takes away a little of your innocence. It changes the way that you look at the world. And basically, when things like that happen, kids feel unsafe. So what are we going to do immediately so that kids are feeling safe on campus? I would absolutely want to know that the school is going to address it and then how they're going to address it.
As adults recognize hate-motivated behaviors in their school community, it's really important for them to address it immediately and help the students recognize that it is considered hate-motivated.
Our goal is to educate staff, students, parents, and community members on the impact of bullying and the steps they can take to stop bullying when they see it and to help create a positive school culture.
The Elk Grove Unified School District recognizes that hate-motivated behavior needs to be addressed and have begun these efforts by passing a new board policy that aims to prevent, respond to, and recognize hate-motivated behaviors, to connect that to all of our efforts to create safe and healthy school climates through our PBIS model and through initiatives like Expect Respect and Stop Walk and Talk. By building students' abilities to recognize and prevent hate-motivated behaviors within the school site, we will begin to transform our community into one that is more inclusive and really leverage the assets of the diverse group of people that we have here in the greater Elk Grove community.